second aspect, I remember there's another story I had was when I was in the clinic last week when a patient came in and her daughter got shot by mistake at 35, incidental homicide. She loved her daughter, but she had read our book and she was in such good spirits. And the reason why, because she was again so grateful for the memories she had. She said, at least my daughter is 35 years old and I got to live with her for 35 years. And I got to have beautiful memories with her. And she didn't think about the homicide, she thought more of the positive memories and all the trips she went with her daughter. And she just really was full of gratitude and appreciation and joy. She said, I'm just so full of positivity today. And thank you so much, this book changed my life. So it's those moments that really make a big difference. She was able to reprogram her mind and make it positive and think, with gratitude and kind of reframe the situation so it worked for her benefit. That's why, our mind is like our best friend.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Can you explain, you were talking about just going through that and changing that mindset and working with your patients on this, but can you explain the connection between the neurological and mental strength in managing things like chronic fatigue or the unexplained that we have no control over?
Yeah.
The correlation between those two?
Are you talking about the mental strength to manage those chronic situations? There's a lot of that's a big topic. But if you think about in a big picture point of view, right? When someone's tired, there's obviously maybe a biological component to it. Some people might have blood, anemia or whatever. They might have problems sleeping at night. But if there's an additional mental piece to that, that mental piece can make the fatigue worse. And so that's why we kind of, what Rick said is we're going to feed our mind with positivity, kind of like it's its own medicine. And then when we do that, then we'll have, if we think of the neurological system, it's sensory input and motor output, right? So whenever we have sensory input, we have like good thoughts, we hear good things, we see good things that are positive, our motor output will be positive. And that's what my kid, she's like, what does positive thinking do? I said, look, positive thinking creates positive action. So I know that if people are struggling with fatigue, there is definitely that, or their chronic pain. But if they have those positive thoughts feeding in, that's like a medicine, that's going to give them some positive action. Even if it's not like they're running up, a marathon or whatever, but even if it's a small thing, it's that sensory input gives that motor output.
Yeah.
No, let me chime in here because I'm backing the truck up once again. We go back to perspective. Number one, everybody listening, you got to reframe it. Number one, you should always appreciate what you have instead of what you don't have. That's the starting point. Thank God it's every day. Don't thank God it's Friday. You know what I mean? Everybody has it wrong. Because then what happens when that's a starting point, like Nib said, she's at the Mayo Clinic and you're seeing people, because let's face it, tragedy and death makes people take a deep breath and they change everything and they appreciate a little bit more. Then a couple weeks go by and they're back to the same old negativity and they let things control them, and you got to get into this routine about what I just said, because when you're in a routine, mentally you become a machine. You're training yourself how you're going to look at it.